Hey, everyone. Had to get myself together after our last episode of Married to the Backslider by Erica Danielle. If you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. I hope you are enjoying yourself. I hope you are getting something out of this. We are this much into the book. We are on episode 7, chapter 5. Let's get right into it. Dealing with the past. Whew, work was terrible. My boss was always yelling. She was so unprofessional. It was a headache. I was always putting in applications to find a real career. Whenever things are bad at home, work seemed to follow suit. It's funny because Joe and I had this theory. The world out here was tough, but we had to remember that we were each other's star players. Everyone else was just on the sideline watching or being a distraction. They were non-factors. Our home was our kingdom. We fight the world. We don't fight each other. Oh, how things had changed. And oh, how much harder it was to fight the world without someone on my team. Not just anyone, my other half. It was like I was coming out in the world without my whole left side. It was doable because I was right-handed, but something was still missing. And we had never been that long not talking or not sleeping together. I was really beginning to think that it was over. I was going to be 26 and divorced. I left work and went straight to Dr. Stone. Hi, Eva. How are you today? Better, knowing inside that was a lie. So, Eva, you said you were married. Have you ever been married before? Nope, first time. Eva, you made a funny face. What was that? Are you sure this is your first marriage? Yes, I'm sure. I would never do this twice, I said with a chuckle. But you have had relationships before your marriage, right? Yes, I've been engaged before. Tell me about that. Oh, that's really old. It was like a long time ago. How long? About 10 years. Eva, 50 years is a long time. 10 years ago was like yesterday. What happened? Well, the engagement was typical. We met in college, fell in love, lived together, planned our lives, graduated, and then we split up. You say that so simply. Didn't it bother you? It must have meant something. After all, you two were engaged. It wasn't the first or last time I've been disappointed. I've had lots of boyfriends. Listen, Eva, I'm not here to judge you. You can take your wall down. You don't have to be so tough with me. I can't help you if you don't let me. Yes, ma'am. Trying to open up for me was really hard. So, you've had lots of boyfriends. I remember. You're the pretty girl, right? Were you ever in love with any of them? I would like to say yes, but at this point, I don't even think I know what love is. I thought I was in love with Joe, but the way things are going, I must be doing something wrong because everything I know to do that I think is showing love is wrong. I just don't know anymore. Okay, well, when you knew what love was, what did you think love was? Who did you think you loved? Tell me about, let's say, your top three. Come on, it's important to be in touch with your feelings and to be honest with yourself. Okay, well, I thought I loved Khalif, but I was wrong. It wasn't real love. If I had to name three, I'd say my husband, Drake, and Keith. Tell me about Drake. Oh, that was really, really long ago. Drake has been my best friend since like middle school. He was from South California when he moved to South Carolina, and he moved to Wilmington when I was in the 7th grade. He was older than me, but he had lived in a neighborhood with my grandmother. So I saw him all the time. I didn't pay him much attention at first, and it was hard not to because he was the tallest thing walking. By the time he was an adult, he was 6'9". I would always avoid him. People in the hood would say, "Hey, yo, pretty, Drake been asking about you," and I would ignore them. And then one day I saw him at the store and I couldn't get away. "Hey, pretty," he said, "I know you see me when I be telling you to come here." He had this backwards South Carolina accent. I laughed. I walked over to him. He leaned against the counter. He said, "Listen, I'm going to give you my number and you call me when you get home." "Well, how about I just give you my cell number?" I said to him. "No," he said, "I don't want your fake number. What I want is for you to call me from your house phone when you get to the crib. Then you can give me your cell." I busted out laughing. Oh, you cool, huh? You'll see, he said. So I called him when I got home, and every day after that until he moved back to South Carolina. When I was in the 12th grade, we were inseparable. I had a big crush on him, but he never seemed to be interested. I would see him with other girls, and at first my feelings were hurt, but then I realized I was closer to him than any other girl. We would stay up all night watching movies and talking until the sun came up. He introduced me to his family, and he always let me know I didn't have to want for anything. And even though he told me he loved me every chance we got, he never tried to have sex with me. My mother loved him and trusted him with my life. I think we clicked because people around him always wanted something from him. But I really just enjoyed his company. I felt safe when I was with him. So what happened to him after that? We remained best of friends. I grew up and started dating Khalif, of course, but I still talk to Drake every day. Even when he moved back to South Carolina, he would come visit me and take me down to visit his family. He would get me and the twins the things that we needed because he knew Jeff wasn't taking care of us. He helped put me through college because he said he was proud of me and he knew my parents were in the position to help. We were still close up until I got married. Jeff wouldn't let me be friends with hardly anyone of people of the opposite sex. Even still, he loved me even though I couldn't talk to him like I used to. Our love was a different kind of love based on loyalty and not physical. Okay, so then you met Keith. Well, I met Keith in college. He was an engineering major, left-handed and really smart. Tall, lanky, and dark-skinned with locks and a goatee. I would see him on campus almost every day at the same time, and we always caught each other's eye. I always smiled and he would nod. Then one day I slowed my pace and he, in a heavenly voice, said, "Excuse me." And I turned around as he said, "Excuse me, miss, what's your name? I see you every day." I smiled and told him. He said, "Well, can I have your number? I would like to call you tonight." I was so impressed by his manners, I couldn't help but say yes. From that day forward, we were inseparable. Over a year had passed when he said to me, "Eva Silver, this is my last time asking you to be my girlfriend." He had been asking me since last August, but I really didn't believe in commitment. I had dated Khalif and other guys in college, but I believed they were all cheaters. I didn't really believe in true love because I saw how Jeff treated my mother. I was so scared and I really didn't want to mess things up with him. I told him, "Listen, if you're just trying to have sex with me, just say so." He looked me in the eyes and said, "I'm not having sex with you until I know I'm the only man in your life." And just like that, on January 22nd, we were together. We were 19. In March, my grandmother died. I didn't expect him to, but he was there for me. In April, my mother died and he was right there beside me. I wouldn't have made it through those times without him. He made sure that I didn't give up on life and that I didn't drop out of college. I was definitely going to drop out of college. He was so supportive and encouraging. He was truly my best friend. After my mom died, Jeff cut me off completely. He withheld some information from me concerning school, which made me ineligible for financial aid. I had to sell my car and pay for school, which meant Keith and I moved in together because he was the only one with transportation. Since sophomores weren't granted housing, I had no way to get back and forth to school or my second job. So we were 19 that summer and we were moving in together. He worked at the grocery store. I worked at the mall. We lived together for 5 years and had everything we needed and more. It wasn't until I got saved that I understood that God will soon grow tired of blessing you in your mess. When there's a calling on your life, He expects more of you. He expected more from me. I have no hard feelings towards Keith, but he didn't know God at the time when I was with him. And I was so far from Christ, even though I had been raised in church. It wasn't until I got saved that I understood that I was living like I didn't need God. I never prayed to Him or asked Him for direction or help. I would say grace before I ate and a bedtime prayer. "Lord, please let me wake up in the morning." And of course, I prayed I wouldn't get caught driving without license with pounds of weed in my bag. Crazy, right? Thank God I found Him. He never left me in all of my mess. He protected me through it all. He has shown me that it was Him keeping me all this time and not Keith. He had to show me that Keith was a resource, but God was the source. He had been there every time protecting me, loving me, and keeping me. I was living off the prayers of my mother, and it was time for me to learn how to pray for myself. So Keith and I went our separate ways, never really knowing why, but okay with the fact that it ended. "So you sound like you're over Keith, and God helped you," said Dr. Stone. "Yes, I'm over Keith and Drake with the help of God. And once I met Joe, I didn't care about them at all." "Well, I'm glad you found peace," said Dr. Stone. "I know it's hard. But that same peace you found to forgive Jeff, the same peace you found to forgive Keith, use that to forgive Joseph and give him to God. God's peace does not change. Let's end for today. Wow, that chapter was kind of short, but I'll just say, um, anytime you make a person, a thing, a place, take the precedence over God, you're gonna have to lose something. So if you're in a relationship and that relationship takes precedent over your time with God, it's not gonna work. Um, you might never have the answer as to why it's not working, but that's why. God is your first love, and He wants you to love Him with all your heart. And as far as forgiveness goes, I have learned forgiveness is not for me. I mean, it's not for the other person, really, because you're going to have to forgive people that aren't even sorry. They don't even think they did anything wrong, or they think you deserved it. But forgiveness is for you, because if we don't forgive others, then God can't forgive us. Also, forgiveness does not equal reconciliation all the time, meaning you can forgive and be distant. You can forgive and set a boundary. You can forgive and never speak to a person again. But forgive so that God can forgive you, so that God can hear and answer your prayers. All right, let's see if we can get one more in before my baby wakes up.